Rescue German Shepherd hides in corner until the right person comes. Then, something shocking happens. Watch the incredible journey of a terrified dog trembling in fear who finds hope through an unexpected connection that will melt your heart. This story of courage, healing, and unbreakable bonds will leave you in awe as one soul's kindness sparks a miracle no one saw coming. Subscribe, like, share, and drop a comment below to let us know where you're watching from. Join us in spreading this tale of love and redemption. The summer of 2023 draped Havenridge in a golden haze, its rolling meadows and quiet streets humming with life, yet beneath the town's charm lay a heartbeat of struggle. At the Havenridge Animal Haven, nestled on the edge of Willowmere Lane, the air was heavy with urgency, the shelter's kennels overflowing with souls surrendered in the wake of hard times. Families, once eager for pandemic pets, now left them behind, their cages a chorus of whimpers and hope. Among these forgotten was a German shepherd, her black and tan coat dull with despair, her body so thin it seemed the wind might carry her away. They called her Ember, a name whispered by a volunteer who saw a flicker of light in her haunted eyes, though she huddled in her kennel's corner, trembling at the world's touch. Havenridge was a town of heart. Neighbours shared garden tomatoes, children chased fireflies, but the shelter's crisis tested its spirit. Ember, barely 3 years old, was a shadow of herself, her ribs stark, her fur matted with neglect. Found in an abandoned farmhouse on Cloverfield Road, she bore wounds that told a cruel story. Dehydration sapped her strength, untreated sores wept on her legs, and a collar had bitten so deep into her neck it left raw scars, a chain of pain no creature should endure. The staff, led by Nora Vale, a behavioural specialist with eyes like warm amber and a heart that refused to quit, poured love into her care. But Ember's fear was a wall no kindness could breach. Nora's days were a dance of patience, cleaning cages, soothing barks, her hands gentle but her soul heavy with the weight of so many lives. Ember was her quiet ache, a puzzle of terror that broke her heart anew each dawn. For 2 weeks the dog shrank from human shadows, her golden brown eyes darting, her body quaking at footsteps. She ate only in the dead of night, when the shelter fell silent, her movements caught on grainy security footage, a ghost slipping to her bowl, then retreating to her corner, as if the world might punish her for daring to survive. "You're safe here," Nora whispered daily, her voice a lullaby, but Ember's flinch was her only reply, a wound deeper than flesh. The shelter's deadline loomed, a stark reality in a world stretched thin. Ember needed a specialized rescue, one equipped for her trauma, but Havenridge's resources were frayed, and time was a thief. Volunteers tried, soft words, treats left near her bed, but she remained a statue of fear, her breath shallow, her trust buried somewhere Nora couldn't reach. "We can't give up," Nora told her team, her auburn hair catching the kennel's dim light, her resolve a fire that burned despite the odds. She'd seen broken spirits mend, cats purring after months of hisses, mutts wagging tails once still. But Ember was different, her silence a cry that echoed in Nora's dreams. On a humid July evening, with storm clouds bruising the horizon, Nora made a final stand. The shelter was quiet, the other animals settled, their snores a soft backdrop. She dragged a chair to Ember's kennel, its bars cold against her hands, and sat, her heart pounding with hope and dread. "I'm here, Ember," she said, opening a worn book of poetry, her voice steady, a river of calm. She read aloud, words of love and skies, not expecting miracles, only offering presence. Minutes passed, then an hour, the shelter's hum fading, and Nora's eyes stayed on the page, though her soul reached for the dog trembling feet away. A rustle broke her focus. Ember's head lifted, her ears twitching, those golden brown eyes meeting Nora's for the first time, not with fear, but with a flicker, a spark, as if the words had woven a thread through her darkness. Nora's breath caught, her voice faltering, but she kept reading, softer now, a promise in each syllable. Ember didn't move closer, didn't wag her tail, but her trembling eased, her body uncurling slightly, a crack in the wall that had held her captive. "That's it," Nora whispered, tears pricking her eyes, her heart soaring. This wasn't trust, not yet, but it was hope, an ember glowing in the silence. The next morning, Haven Ridge buzzed with its usual rhythm, farmers' market stalls, kids on bikes, but the shelter carried a new light. Nora shared Ember's moment with her team, her voice bright, though she tempered their excitement. "It's a start," she said, checking Ember's water, noting her untouched food. The dog was back in her corner, eyes wary again, but Nora saw the difference, a tilt of her head, a pause before she flinched. "We've got time," she lied to herself, knowing the deadline loomed, her mind racing for ways to reach her. That afternoon, a stranger arrived, her arms laden with donations, blankets, kibble, toys stacked high. Lila Grayson, a physical therapist with a warm smile and eyes like spring moss, hadn't planned to linger, her day packed with clients at Haven Ridge's clinic. But as she handed over the bags, a volunteer mentioned Ember, the words traumatized and running out of time catching her heart. "Can I see her?" Lila asked, curiosity tugging, a pull she couldn't explain. Nora hesitated. Visitors often spooked Ember, but something in Lila's quiet calm, her steady hands felt right. "Just be gentle," Nora said, leading her to the kennel. Ember huddled as always, a shadow in the corner, her breath quick at the new presence. Lila didn't speak, didn't reach, only set down her bag and sat cross-legged outside the bars, her movements slow, deliberate. She pulled a small book from her pocket, a collection of stories worn from use, and began to read, her voice soft as a breeze, tales of forests and friendship filling the air. Nora watched, her heart in her throat, as Ember's ears flicked, her eyes darting to Lila, then away, a dance of fear and wonder. Minutes stretched and Lila stayed, her presence a gift, no pressure, only patience. When Lila left, promising to return, Nora saw it again. That flicker in Ember's gaze, brighter now, a spark that hadn't been there before. Lila's visit hadn't moved mountains, but it shifted something, a pebble in a stream, redirecting the flow. Ember didn't eat, didn't approach the bars, but her trembling was less, her eyes lingering where Lila had sat. Nora stood alone in the kennel's quiet, her fingers brushing the bars, and whispered, "You're not alone, Ember. We're coming for you." Outside, Haven Ridge's meadows glowed, the storm clouds gone, the sky a canvas of promise. Lila drove away, her heart tethered to the shelter, a vow forming to return, though she didn't know why. Nora locked the kennel, her mind on Ember, on Lila, on the deadline ticking closer. And in the corner, Ember curled tighter, her golden brown eyes open, watching the empty space where a voice had woven light, her spark waiting, fragile but alive, for the next dawn to call it home. The Haven Ridge dawn spilled over the meadows like a promise, its golden light weaving through the oaks along Willowmere Lane, where the Haven Ridge Animal Haven stood, as a beacon of hope amidst a tide of need. Inside, the shelter's kennels hummed with soft whines and eager paws, each animal a story waiting for its happy ending. At the heart of it was Ember, the German shepherd whose fragile spark had flickered under Nora Vale's care, her black and tan coat still dull, her golden brown eyes wary but holding a trace of curiosity since Lila Grayson's quiet visit. Nora moved through her morning rounds, her auburn hair catching the sun, her amber eyes bright with purpose, though her heart lingered with Ember, whose corner remained a fortress of fear. Ember's world was small, cold bars, a thin blanket, the shelter's distant hum, but yesterday's moment when Lila's soft reading had stilled her trembling lingered like a melody. Nora checked Ember's bowl, untouched since midnight's secret meal, and sighed, her fingers brushing the kennel door. "You felt her, didn't you?" she whispered, seeing a subtle shift. Ember's ears flicked less frantically, her body less hunched, as if Lila's voice had left a crack in her armor. The deadline for a specialized rescue loomed, a shadow over Nora's hope, but that spark, fragile as it was, fueled her. "We're not done, girl," she said, her voice a vow, her heart tethered to the dog who'd stolen it. Haven Ridge woke with its gentle rhythm, bakers kneading dough, children skipping to the park. But the shelter was Nora's universe, each animal a piece of her soul. She soothed a nervous terrier, fed a litter of kittens, her hands steady despite the ache of Ember's silence. Volunteers bustled, their chatter warm, but Nora's thoughts drifted to Lila, the physical therapist whose calm had stirred Ember where others failed. "She's coming back," Nora murmured, half to herself, half to Ember, whose eyes flicked to the kennel's gate, as if waiting. Mid-morning brought a familiar figure, Lila, her spring moss eyes bright, her arms empty of donations but her heart full of intent. She wore a soft sweater, her blonde hair loose, and carried a folding chair, a book tucked under her arm. "I couldn't stay away," she said, her smile shy but certain, meeting Nora's gaze. "Ember, she's special." Nora's chest warmed, relief mingling with curiosity. Lila's pull to Ember was a mystery, yet it felt like fate. "She is," Nora agreed, leading her to the kennel. "Just do what you did yesterday. She's listening, even if she doesn't show it." Ember crouched in her corner, her breath quickening at Lila's approach, but her eyes held a flicker, not fear, but recognition. Lila unfolded her chair, settling outside the bars, her movements slow, deliberate, a dance of patience. "Hey, Ember," she said, her voice a breeze over a still lake, opening her book, a collection of fairy tales, their pages worn from love. She read of brave foxes and kind rivers, her tone weaving a world where fear had no place, and Nora watched, her heart in her throat, as Ember's ears tilted, her trembling easing, her gaze lingering on Lila's face. Minutes stretched into an hour, the shelter's hum fading, Lila's voice the only sound in Ember's world. Nora lingered nearby, cleaning a cage, stealing glances, Ember's body uncurled slightly, her nose twitching toward a treat Lila had left by the bars, untouched but noticed. "That's it," Nora whispered, her eyes stinging with hope. Lila paused, meeting Ember's gaze, and offered a smile, soft as dawn. "I'll be here tomorrow," she said, closing her book, and Ember's head lifted, a faint spark in her eyes, as if she understood. When Lila left, Nora knelt by the kennel, her voice low. "You're waking up, aren't you?" Ember didn't move, but her eyes stayed on the gate, less fearful, more curious. Nora's heart soared. This was progress, a step toward trust, though the deadline ticked closer, a whisper of dread. She checked Ember's wounds, applying ointment to the collar's scars, her touch gentle. Beneath the grime, she noticed a faint mark, a tattoo in Ember's ear, barely visible, a string of numbers. "What's your story?" Nora murmured, jotting it down, a clue to Ember's past, though it stirred unease. Numbers like that often meant more than a pet's life. The day unfolded with shelter chaos, dogs barking, volunteers laughing, a cat adoption lifting spirits, but Nora's mind was on Ember, on Lila, on the tattoo. She called a friend at the state animal registry, her voice steady. "Can you trace a dog's ID?" The answer came hours later, vague but intriguing. The number linked to a military program discontinued years ago records spotty. "Might have been a working dog," her friend said, "but it's a long shot." Nora's pulse quickened. Ember, a soldier's companion. The idea fit her strength, her scars, but deepened the mystery of her abandonment. Lila returned that afternoon, her chair a fixture now, her book joined by a small speaker playing gentle piano notes. Ember's reaction was subtle but electric. Her tail flicked, not a wag, but a sign, her nose inching closer to the treat Lila offered. Nora watched, her heart pounding, as Ember took a step toward the bars, her eyes locked on Lila, a dance of trust beginning. "You're magic," Nora said, half laughing when Lila stood to leave. Lila blushed, her eyes on Ember. "She's the magic, I just feel her." Nora nodded, sensing a bond forming, one she'd protect at all costs. Evening fell, Haven Ridge's meadows glowing under a crescent moon, the shelter quiet save for Ember's soft breaths. Nora sat by her kennel, her poetry book open, reading again, her voice a bridge where Lila's had been. Ember's eyes stayed on her, less haunted, and for the first time she ate a treat left by Lila, her jaws tentative, her gaze never breaking. Nora's tears fell, silent joy. Ember was reaching back, her spark growing, a fire no deadline could dim. Lila's visits became daily, each a step forward, Ember sniffing her hand, accepting a treat, her trembling fading like mist. Nora shared the tattoo's clue with her, cautious but hopeful. She might have had a different life, Nora said, watching Lila's eyes widen. Military? Lila asked, stroking the air near Ember's bars, as if touching her spirit. It suits her. She's a fighter. Ember's ears perked, as if agreeing, and Nora smiled, her heart knitting them together. 3 souls bound by a dog who'd lost everything but hope. The shelter's deadline loomed, a spectre Nora pushed away, focusing on Ember's progress. Volunteers noticed. Ember stood taller, her eyes brighter, her corner less a prison. Lila's her angel, one said, and Nora agreed, though she felt the weight of time. She called the registry again, digging deeper, the tattoo a thread to Ember's past, perhaps a handler, a mission, a life before pain. The answer was faint, but promising. A name, Captain Elias Holt, linked to a lost dog, record sealed. Nora's breath caught. Could he be Ember's key? As night cloaked Havenridge, Nora locked the shelter, her heart full. Lila's car lingered in the lot, her silhouette soft, as if she too couldn't leave Ember. Inside, Ember curled in her blanket, her golden brown eyes open, watching the stars through a high window, her spark aflame now, waiting for the right heart to call it home. Nora whispered, "We're close, girl," and felt it. Love was weaving a path, slow but sure, through the silence to a dawn they'd all share. The Havenridge morning bloomed with a tender hush, sunlight spilling over the meadows, painting Willowmere Lane in hues of gold and promise. At the Havenridge Animal Haven, the shelter's heartbeat pulsed with hope, its kennels a tapestry of barks and purrs, each animal a dream waiting to unfold. In one quiet corner, Ember, the German shepherd who'd once been a shadow of fear, lay on her blanket, her black and tan coat gaining a faint sheen, her golden brown eyes holding a spark that grew brighter each day. Nora Vale moved through her rounds, her auburn hair catching the light, her amber eyes warm with purpose, her heart tethered to Ember, whose trust was blossoming under Lila Grayson's gentle care. Ember's world had shifted since Lila's first visit, a chair by her kennel, a voice weaving tales, a melody of piano notes softening her fear. She no longer shrank into her corner at every sound, her trembling less a reflex, more a pause, as if weighing the world's kindness. Nora knelt by her cage, checking the scars on her neck, now healing under ointment's touch, and smiled. "You're finding your way," she whispered, noting Ember's bowl, half empty from a daytime meal, a victory no one dared celebrate too loudly. The deadline for a specialized rescue lingered, a shadow Nora pushed away, her hope anchored in Ember's eyes, which now followed Lila's every step. Havenridge stirred with its daily dance, farmers hauling crates to market, children's laughter echoing, but the shelter was Nora's sanctuary, each animal a piece of her heart. She soothed a skittish collie, her hands gentle, her mind on Ember's tattoo, the numbers hinting at a military past, a captain named Elias Holt. The registry's vague lead had sparked questions. Had Ember served, loved before her abandonment? Nora's call to a military contact yielded little, only whispers of a lost dog, records locked tight, but it was enough to keep her digging, her heart certain Ember's story held a key to her healing. Lila arrived mid-morning, her spring moss eyes bright, her folding chair a familiar comfort, now joined by a soft blanket she draped nearby, a gift for Ember's corner. "Morning, Nora," she said, her smile warm, her book, a new one, Tales of Adventure, tucked under her arm. "How's our girl?" Nora's chest warmed at the hour, a sign of Lila's commitment. "Better," she said, leading her to the kennel. "She ate in daylight yesterday. You're her light." Lila blushed, her gaze on Ember, who lifted her head, ears perked, a faint wag in her tail, a miracle in motion. Ember's kennel was no longer a prison, its bars softened by Lila's presence. She settled in her chair, her voice a river of calm, reading of brave sailors and starry nights, the words wrapping Ember like a blanket. Nora lingered, cleaning nearby, her heart soaring as Ember inched closer to the bars, her nose twitching toward a treat Lila offered, chicken, soft and tempting. "That's it, sweet girl," Lila murmured, her eyes never leaving Ember's, and for the first time Ember took the treat, her jaws tentative, her gaze steady, a trust so fragile it stole Nora's breath. The moment lingered, a beacon in the shelter's hum, volunteers pausing, their whispers soft. "She's coming back." Lila stayed an hour, her music playing low, piano notes weaving with her voice, and Ember lay closer to the bars, her body relaxed, her eyes tracing Lila's hands. When Lila stood to leave, Ember's head followed, a soft whine escaping, the first sound Nora had heard from her. A plea, a connection. "I'll be back," Lila promised, her voice thick, and Nora saw tears in her eyes, mirroring her own. "You're her bridge," Nora said, hugging her, their shared hope aflame against the deadline's chill. Afternoon brought Nora's pursuit of Ember's past, her desk cluttered with notes, the tattoos' numbers a puzzle. She called another contact, a retired trainer who'd worked with military dogs, her voice steady but urgent. "Elias Holt," she said, the name a prayer. The trainer paused, his tone cautious. "Holt was a captain, served in tough places. Had a shepherd, loyal as they come, but she vanished after something bad. Records are messy, war does that." Nora's heart raced. Ember, Holt's partner, lost in chaos. "Can you find him?" she asked, and he promised to try. A thread to a past that might heal her. Lila returned at dusk, her chair a ritual now, her book joined by a toy, a soft ball left near the bars. Ember's reaction was electric. She sniffed it, her tail wagging fully, a dance of joy that lit the kennel. Nora watched, her heart pounding as Lila read, her voice softer, tales of home and heart, and Ember lay by the bars, her nose brushing Lila's fingers, a touch so brief it was a whisper, yet it changed everything. "You're a miracle," Lila said, tears falling, and Ember's eyes held hers, golden brown and alive, fear giving way to trust. Nora shared the military lead with Lila, her voice low, Ember listening. "She might have been a hero," Nora said, showing the tattoo's notes. Lila's eyes widened, her hand hovering near Ember's bars. "A soldier's dog," she murmured, her voice reverent. "No wonder she's so strong." Ember's ears perked, as if hearing her old self, and Nora felt it. A story unfolding, a bridge to a life before pain. "If we find Holt," Nora said, "he might help her heal." Lila nodded, her resolve matching Nora's, their hearts aligned for Ember's sake. The shelter buzzed with evening tasks, feeding, cleaning, volunteers sharing Ember's progress, their hope infectious. Nora checked Ember's wounds, her touch gentle, noting her weight gain, her coat's faint shine. "You're fighting, aren't you?" she whispered, and Ember's eyes met hers, less haunted, more present, a spark that burned brighter. Lila lingered, her music playing, and Ember ate a full meal in her presence, a triumph that drew cheers, though Nora hushed them. Ember's trust was a delicate thread, not to be frayed. Night fell. Haven Ridge's meadows cloaked in stars and the shelter quiet save for Ember's soft breaths. Nora sat by her kennel, her poetry book open, reading as Lila had, her voice a lullaby. Ember lay close, her nose near the bars, and took another treat, her jaws sure, her eyes warm. Nora's tears fell, joy and fear colliding. The deadline was days away, but Ember was waking, her heart reaching for Lila, for her, for a past that might hold answers. Lila's car idled outside, her silhouette soft, as if tethered to Ember's spark. Nora called her military contact again, pushing for Holt's whereabouts, her voice firm. "He's out there," the trainer said. "Retired, broken, maybe in Millwood." Nora's heart leapt. Millwood, 2 hours away, a lead she'd chase. She locked the shelter, her mind racing. Ember, a soldier's soul, needed her captain, but Lila's love was her anchor now, a light no darkness could dim. In her kennel, Ember curled on her blanket, her golden brown eyes open, watching the moonlight through a high window, her spark a flame that danced with trust. Nora whispered, "We're finding you, girl," and felt the truth. Love was weaving a path, through fear, through time, to a dawn where Ember would run free, her heart whole, her story sung by those who'd never let her fade. The Havenridge dawn unfurled like a whispered prayer, its golden light threading through the oaks along Willowmere Lane, bathing the Havenridge Animal Haven in a glow that felt like hope reborn. The shelter's kennels sang with life, paws scratching, tails thumping, each animal a heartbeat of possibility. But in one quiet corner, Ember, the German shepherd who'd once been a trembling shadow, lay on her blanket, her black and tan coat catching a faint shine, her golden brown eyes alive with a trust that grew stronger each day. Nora Vale moved through her mourning, her auburn hair tied back, her amber eyes bright with determination, her heart tethered to Ember, whose spark had become a flame under Lila Grayson's gentle care. Ember's world was no longer just fear. Her kennel, once a cage, now held a soft blanket Lila had given, a toy ball she'd sniffed, and the echo of stories that had cracked her armor. She didn't huddle in her corner anymore. Her body relaxed, her ears perked at Lila's footsteps, a wag in her tail when Nora whispered her name. Nora checked Ember's bowl, empty, a meal eaten in daylight, a triumph that warmed her soul. "You're coming back to us," she murmured, her fingers brushing the fading scars on Ember's neck, her heart soaring at the dog's progress. Though the deadline for a specialized rescue loomed, a shadow she refused to let dim her hope. Havenridge woke with its tender hum, bakers setting out bread, children racing bikes, but the shelter was Nora's universe, each animal a thread in her heart's tapestry. She soothed a barking spaniel, her hands steady, her mind on Ember's tattoo, the military lead pointing to Captain Elias Holt, a name that carried weight and mystery. Yesterday's call had placed him in Millwood, 2 hours away, a retired soldier with wounds of his own, perhaps tied to Ember's past. Nora's contact promised more, a possible address, a chance to reconnect a dog and her handler, a hope that fueled her as she fed the kittens, her resolve a fire against time's theft. Lila arrived mid-morning, her spring moss eyes glowing, her folding chair a sanctuary, now joined by a small pillow for comfort, a sign of her commitment. "Morning, Ember," she said, her voice a melody, settling outside the kennel with a new book, tales of heroes and hearths, their pages soft from use. Nora watched, her heart in her throat, as Ember stood, her tail wagging fully, her nose pressing against the bars, sniffing Lila's hand, a trust so bold it drew a gasp from a volunteer nearby. "Hey, sweet girl," Lila murmured, offering a treat, beef, tender and warm, which Ember took, her eyes never leaving Lila's, a bond weaving tighter with each dawn. The shelter hummed, but Ember's kennel was a world apart, Lila's voice a bridge over fear's river. She read of nights and starlit paths, her piano music playing low, and Ember lay close, her body stretched toward the bars, her golden brown eyes soft as if drinking in every word. Nora lingered, cleaning a cage, her tears silent as Ember nudged the toy ball, a playful spark that lit the room. Lila paused, her smile radiant, and slid another treat through the bars, Ember's jaws gentle, her trust a gift that broke Nora's heart with joy. "You're her home," Nora said, her voice thick, and Lila nodded, tears shimmering, her heart tethered to the dog who'd claimed it. Afternoon brought Nora's chase for answers, her desk a map of notes, the tattoo's numbers a lifeline. She called her military contact again, her voice urgent but calm. "Holt's in Millwood," he confirmed, giving an address, a small house off the grid, a man living quiet. "He's not the same," the trainer warned. "War took a lot. If he had a dog, losing her broke him." Nora's pulse raced. Ember, Holt's companion, torn from him in chaos, abandoned to cruelty. "I need to reach him," she said, and he promised to try, though Holt's walls were high, his pain a mirror of embers. Lila stayed through the day, her visits a rhythm Ember craved, reading, music, treats, a soft hand near the bars. Ember's progress was a miracle. She walked to the kennel's center, her tail high, her eyes following Lila's every move, a whine of joy when she arrived. Nora shared Holt's lead, her voice low, Ember listening. "He might have been her family," she said, watching Lila's eyes soften. "A captain, a hero, like her." Lila knelt, her fingers brushing the bars, Ember's nose close. "You're still a hero," she whispered, and Ember's tail thumped, as if remembering, her spark of flame that burned for love. The shelter bustled, adoptions lifting spirits, volunteers cheering Ember's strides, but Nora's heart was with her mission. She drove to Millwood at dusk, Havenridge's meadows fading behind, her mind on Holt, on Ember, on Lila's light. The address led to a weathered house, its porch sagging, a man's silhouette in the window, tall, shadowed, still. Nora knocked, her heart pounding, but no answer came, only a dog's tag on the mailbox, its numbers faded, a ghost of Ember's tattoo. "Elias," she called, her voice soft. The door stayed shut, his pain a wall she couldn't breach. Back at the shelter, Lila waited, her chair by Ember's kennel, her voice weaving a new tale of a lost dog finding home. Ember lay close, her body touching the bars, her eyes warm, and for the first time she licked Lila's fingers, a touch so gentle it stole Lila's breath. "Oh, Ember," she whispered, tears falling, and Nora, returning, saw it. A bond unbreakable, a trust that defied deadlines. "She's yours," Nora said, her voice trembling, and Lila nodded, her heart swearing to never let go. Evening cloaked Havenridge, the shelter quiet, its animals dreaming. Nora sat by Ember's kennel, her poetry book open, reading as Lila had, her voice a lullaby. Ember curled near the bars, her golden brown eyes on Nora, and took a treat, her jaws sure, her trust a river now, flowing free. Nora's tears fell, hope and fear colliding. Holt was close but silent, and the deadline was tomorrow, a spectre she couldn't ignore. Lila lingered outside, her car's engine soft, her silhouette a promise. Nora called her contact again, pushing for Holt's heart. "He's hurting," the trainer said, "but I'll try." Nora locked the shelter, her mind racing. Ember needed Holt, but Lila was her anchor, her spark of flame that lit the path. In her kennel, Ember slept, her blanket warm, her golden brown eyes closed, dreaming of voices, of hands, of a captain whose love might call her back, a dawn where trust would make her whole. The Havenridge dawn broke with a fragile shimmer, sunlight weaving through the mist that clung to Willowmere Lane, casting a gentle glow over the Havenridge Animal Haven. Inside, the shelter pulsed with life, whimpers of hope, scratches of eager paws, but a quiet urgency threaded the air, the deadline for Ember's specialized rescue now hours away. Ember, the German shepherd who'd once trembled in her kennel's corner, lay on her blanket, her black and tan coat softer now, her golden brown eyes alight with trust, a spark kindled by Lila Grayson's love and Nora Vale's relentless faith. Nora moved through her rounds, her auburn hair loose, her amber eyes fierce with hope, her heart a drumbeat for Ember whose journey had become her own. Ember's kennel was a sanctuary. Lila's blanket, a toy bull she'd nudged, a treat bowl emptied daily, signs of a soul waking from fear. She stood at the bars now, her tail wagging at Lila's name, her ears perked for Nora's voice, her scars fading under care's tender touch. Nora knelt, checking her weight, stronger, a miracle, and smiled, tears pricking her eyes. "You're fighting, girl," she whispered, her fingers brushing Ember's fur, her heart soaring at the dog's progress, though the clock's shadow loomed, a thief she'd battle to her last breath. Havenridge stirred with its morning song. Bakers stacking loaves, children chasing kites. But the shelter was Nora's world, each animal a light in her soul. She soothed a trembling pup, her hands steady, her mind on Captain Elias Holt, the military lead that promised answers. Her trip to Millwood had found a silent house, a shadowed man, but the dog tag on his mailbox, numbers like embers, had lit a fire. Nora's contact had called last night, voice low. Holt's there, but he's shut out the world. Losing his dog, it broke him. Nora's pulse raced. Ember, Holt's lost partner, a piece of his heart. I'll go again, she vowed, feeding a cat, her resolve a shield against despair. Lila arrived early, her spring moss eyes bright with purpose, her folding chair joined by a soft mat, a sign of her rooted devotion. "Morning, Ember," she said, her voice a lullaby settling by the kennel with a new book. Tales of wanderers finding home, their pages creased with love. Nora watched, her heart pounding as Ember pressed against the bars, her nose touching Lila's hand, a whine of joy escaping, a sound that silenced the shelter's hum. "Oh, sweet girl," Lila murmured, offering a treat, chicken, warm, which Ember took, her eyes locked on Lila's, trust blooming like a flower through stone. The moment was magic. Volunteers froze, their whispers soft. "She's alive again." Lila read, her piano music weaving with her voice, tales of loyalty and light, and Ember lay close, her body relaxed, her golden brown eyes drinking in Lila's presence. Nora lingered, cleaning nearby, her tears silent as Ember nudged the toy ball, rolling it to Lila, a playful spark that lit the room. Lila laughed, tears falling, and slid the ball back, Ember's tail thumping, a dance of trust that defied the deadline's weight. "You're my heart," Lila whispered, her hand near the bars, and Ember licked it, a touch so bold Nora gasped, joy flooding her. Afternoon brought Nora's mission, her desk a fortress of notes, Holt's address a beacon. She called her contact, voice urgent. "I need him today," she said, the deadline a knife at her throat. "Holt's hurting," he replied, "but I found a friend. He'll try to get him to talk." Nora's heart leapt. A friend, a chance, a path to Ember's past. She drove to Millwood again, Haven Ridge's meadows fading, her mind on Holt, on Ember, on Lila's light. The house was the same, sagging porch, shadowed windows, but a truck was parked, a man's voice inside, low, coaxing. Nora knocked, her breath held, and the door cracked, revealing a weathered face, Holt's friend, eyes kind but guarded. "Elias isn't ready," he said. "But tell me about the dog." Nora poured out Ember's story, found abandoned, scarred, terrified, now waking under Lila's care, her tattoo linking to Holt. The friend listened, his face softening, and nodded. "Sounds like his Ember," he said, voice thick. "She was his shadow, saved him overseas, but things went wrong. He thinks she's gone." Nora's tears fell, hope and urgency colliding. "She's alive," she said, showing a photo of Ember, her eyes bright. "Tell him." The friend promised, taking the photo, and Nora left, her heart racing. Holt was close, his pain a mirror to Ember's, their reunion a spark waiting to ignite. Back at the shelter, Lila stayed, her voice a river, reading of homecoming, Ember lying close, her nose brushing Lila's fingers, her trust aflame now, burning fierce. Nora returned, sharing Holt's news, her voice trembling. "He's out there, Lila, and he loved her." Lila's eyes shone, her hand near Ember's bars. "She remembers love," she said, and Ember whined as if hearing Holt's name, her tail thumping, a memory stirring. Nora felt it, a bridge forming, past to present, fear to healing. Lila and Holt the keys to Ember's heart. The shelter buzzed, volunteers cheering Ember's strides, a kitten adopted, but the deadline loomed, a spectre Nora faced with fire. She called the rescue, begging for time, her voice breaking. "She's changing," she said, and they hesitated, moved by Ember's spark, granting a day no more. Nora's heart sank, but Lila's presence steadied her. Ember stood tall now, her coat shining, her eyes warm, eating meals with Lila there, a miracle unfolding. Evening fell. Haven Ridge's meadows cloaked in dusk, the shelter quiet save for Ember's soft breaths. Lila lingered, her music playing, and Ember rolled the ball again, her play a song of trust, Lila's laughter a harmony. Nora sat by the kennel, her poetry book open, reading as Lila left, her voice a lullaby. Ember curled near the bars, her golden brown eyes on Nora, and took a treat, her jaws gentle, her trust a river flowing free. Nora's tears fell, joy and fear colliding. Holt was a step away, but time was slipping, the deadline a wall she'd climb for Ember's sake. Lila's car idled outside, her silhouette a vow, her heart bound to Ember. Nora called Holt's friend, voice firm. "He needs to know now," she said, and he sighed, promising to push, Holt's pain a tide to cross. Nora locked the shelter, her mind racing. Ember needed Holt, but Lila was her anchor, her spark of flame that lit the night. In her kennel, Ember slept, her blanket warm, her golden brown eyes closed, dreaming of voices, of hands, of a captain whose love might call her home, a dawn where trust would make her run free. The Havenridge dawn shimmered with a quiet urgency, sunlight piercing the mist that draped Willowmere Lane, casting a golden veil over the Havenridge Animal Haven. The shelter's kennels pulsed with life, soft whines, eager scratches, a chorus of hope, but a shadow hung heavy, the deadline for Ember's specialized rescue now a mere breath away. Ember, the German shepherd who'd once cowered in fear, lay on her blanket, her black and tan coat gleaming softly, her golden brown eyes radiant with trust, a flame kindled by Lila Grayson's unwavering love and Nora Vale's fierce devotion. Nora moved through her mourning, her auburn hair tied back, her amber eyes alight with determination, her heart a beacon for Ember, whose journey had woven their souls together. Ember's kennel was a haven, Lila's blanket warm, a toy ball she'd claimed, a treat bowl emptied with joy, signs of a spirit reborn. She stood tall now, her tail wagging at Lila's arrival, her ears perked for Nora's whispers, her scars mere echoes of pain. Nora knelt, checking her wounds, nearly gone, a miracle, and smiled, tears brimming. "You're almost home, girl," she murmured, her fingers brushing Ember's fur, her heart soaring at the dog's courage, though the clock's ticking was a thief she'd fight to her last. The extra day granted by the rescue was a fragile gift, one Nora clung to, her hope tethered to a man who might hold Ember's past, Captain Elias Holt. Havenridge woke with its gentle hum, farmers hauling baskets, children laughing, but the shelter was Nora's universe, each animal a star in her sky. She soothed a nervous mutt, her hands steady, her mind on Holt, whose shadowed house in Millwood had offered a glimpse of truth. Her contact's call last night had been a spark. Holt's friend, moved by Ember's photo, had pushed, and Holt had listened, his pain cracking open. "He wants to see her," the friend said, voice thick. "Today." Nora's pulse raced. Ember, Holt's lost companion, a piece of his heart, could mend them both, if time allowed. Lila arrived early, her spring moss eyes glowing with love, her folding chair a sanctuary, now joined by a soft rope toy, a gift for Ember's growing play. "Morning, sweet girl," she said, her voice a melody, settling by the kennel with her book, Tales of Reunion, their pages soft with hope. Nora watched, her heart pounding, as Ember bounded to the bars, her tail a joyous blur, her nose pressing Lila's hand, a bark soft, bright, filling the air, a sound that hushed the shelter. "Oh, Ember!" Lila laughed, tears falling, offering a treat, beef, warm, which Ember took, her eyes locked on Lila's, trust a river flowing free. The moment was a miracle. Volunteers gathered, their whispers awed. "She's alive." Lila read, her piano music weaving with her voice, tales of hearts finding home, and Ember lay close, her body touching the bars, her golden brown eyes warm, as if she knew Lila was her anchor. Nora lingered, cleaning nearby, her tears silent as Ember grabbed the rope toy, tugging gently, a playful spark that lit the room. Lila tugged back, her laughter a song, and Ember's tail thumped, a dance of trust that defied the deadline's shadow. "You're my light," Lila whispered, her hand near the bars, and Ember licked it, a bond so bold Nora's breath caught, joy flooding her soul. Mid-morning brought Nora's mission, her phone buzzing with Holt's friend. "He's coming," he said, voice heavy. "Noon, but he's fragile, Nora. Be gentle." Nora's heart leapt. Holt, Ember's captain, was stepping into the light, his pain a mirror to her scars. She prepared the shelter, her hands trembling, telling Lila, whose eyes widened. "Today?" Lila asked, her voice soft, Ember's head in her lap, a rare moment through the open kennel door, a trust earned over weeks. "He needs her," Nora said, "and she needs him." Lila nodded, her resolve firm, her heart tied to Ember, to Nora, to a reunion that could heal them all. Noon neared, Haven Ridge's meadows glowing, the shelter quiet save for Ember's soft whines, her anticipation palpable. Lila stayed, her voice a river, reading of loyalty and love, Ember lying close, her nose brushing Lila's fingers, her trust a flame burning fierce. Nora paced, her eyes on the door until a truck rumbled up, its engine rough, a man stepping out, tall, weathered, his eyes shadowed but kind. Elias Holt, a soldier carrying ghosts. Nora greeted him, her voice steady. "She's waiting," and led him inside, Lila standing, Ember's eyes darting, a spark of recognition flickering. Holt knelt by the kennel, his breath uneven, his voice a whisper. "Ember." The dog froze, her ears perked, her golden brown eyes searching his, and then a whine, loud, joyous, her body lunging to the bars, her tail a blur, her nose pressing his hand, a reunion that broke Nora's heart with joy. Lila's tears fell, her hand on Ember's back, and Holt's eyes glistened, his voice cracking. "My girl." Ember barked, a sound of love, and Holt reached through, his fingers trembling, her licks a promise. They'd found each other across time, across pain. Nora watched, her throat tight as Holt spoke, voice low, telling Ember's story, his partner in war, brave, loyal, lost in an ambush, stolen, abandoned. "I failed you," he whispered, but Ember nudged him, her eyes warm, forgiving, her trust a bridge. Lila knelt, her presence steady, and Holt met her eyes, gratitude in his nod. "She's got you now," he said, and Lila smiled, tears streaming. "We've got her." Nora's heart soared. Ember's past was here, her future bright, the deadline a shadow they'd outrun. Afternoon unfolded, Holt lingering, Ember at his side through the open kennel door, Lila reading, their voices weaving a home. Nora called the rescue, her voice firm, "She's staying here," and they agreed, moved by Ember's miracle, granting Haven Ridge time. Volunteers cheered, their hope infectious, but Nora stayed with Holt, listening. He'd been broken, like Ember, his strength frayed, yet her spark was mending him too. "I'll help," he said, voice steady, a vow to stay, to heal. Evening fell. Haven Ridge's meadows cloaked in stars, the shelter quiet save for Ember's soft breaths. Lila stayed, her music playing, and Ember curled between her and Holt, her golden brown eyes warm, her trust a river now flowing free. Nora sat nearby, her poetry book open, reading as they rested, her voice a lullaby. Ember's tail thumped, her joy a flame that lit the night, Holt's hand on her fur, Lila's smile a mirror of Nora's joy. Lila left late, her car's engine soft, her silhouette a promise. Nora locked the shelter, her heart full. Holt was here, Ember's captain, but Lila was her heart, their bond a light no darkness could dim. In her kennel Ember slept, her blanket warm, her golden brown eyes closed, dreaming of voices, of hands, of a love that had crossed oceans to call her home, a dawn where trust would make her soar. The Haven Ridge dawn glowed with a tender promise, sunlight spilling over Willowmere Lane, weaving golden threads through the oaks that framed the Haven Ridge Animal Haven. The shelter hummed with life, soft barks, gentle purrs, a symphony of hope, its urgency softened by a miracle unfolding in one quiet kennel. Ember, the German shepherd who'd once trembled in fear, lay on her blanket, her black and tan coat shining, her golden brown eyes radiant with love, a flame now afire kindled by Lila Grayson's devotion, Nora Vale's faith, and the reunion with her captain, Elias Holt. Nora moved through her mourning, her auburn hair catching the light, her amber eyes warm with joy, her heart tethered to Ember, whose trust had rewritten their stars. Ember's kennel was a home, Lila's blanket soft, a rope toy chewed with glee, a treat bowl emptied with eager licks, signs of a soul reborn. She bounded to the bars now, her tail a joyous blur at Lila's voice, her ears perked for Holt's low hum, her scars faded into whispers of a cruel past. Nora knelt, checking her weight, strong, vibrant, and smiled, tears brimming. "You've found your heart, girl," she murmured, her fingers brushing Ember's fur, her soul soaring at the dog's triumph, the deadline's shadow gone, replaced by a future bright with love. Havenridge woke with its gentle rhythm, farmers stacking crates, children skipping, but the shelter was Nora's world, each animal a light in her heart. She soothed a shy kitten, her hands steady, her mind on Holt, whose presence had changed everything. Yesterday's reunion, Ember's joyous leap, Holt's tearful whisper had cracked open his pain, revealing a soldier broken by war, by loss, yet mending through Ember's love. Nora's contact had called, voice warm. "Holt's staying. He's got nowhere else, but he's got her." Nora's pulse quickened. Ember and Holt, two souls healing with Lila as their bridge, Havenridge their home. Lila arrived mid-morning, her spring moss eyes glowing, her folding chair now a fixture, joined by a soft harness, a hint of walks to come. "Morning, Ember," she said, her voice a melody, settling by the kennel with her book, tales of courage, their pages worn with hope. Nora watched, her heart full, as Ember barked, bright and bold, pressing against the bars, her nose nudging Lila's hand, a whine of joy filling the air. "My sweet girl," Lila laughed, offering a treat, chicken warm, which Ember took, her eyes locked on Lila's, trust a river flowing deep and free. The shelter hushed, volunteers smiling, their whispers soft. She's whole again. Lila read, her piano music weaving with her voice, tales of heroes finding peace, and Ember lay close, her body relaxed, her golden brown eyes warm, as if she knew Lila was her anchor. Holt arrived, his steps slow but sure, his weathered face softer, his eyes kind despite the shadows. He knelt by Ember, his voice low. "Hey, girl," and she leapt, her tail a blur, her licks a storm of love, their bond a light that lit the room. Lila smiled, her presence steady, and Holt nodded, gratitude in his gaze. "You saved her." Nora lingered, cleaning nearby, her tears silent as Ember played, tugging the rope toy between Lila and Holt, a dance of joy that defied her past. Lila tossed the ball, Holt caught it, Ember barked, her spark of fire that warmed them all. "She's healing us," Lila said, tears falling, and Holt's voice cracked. "I thought I'd lost her." Nora's heart swelled, Ember's trust, Lila's love, Holt's return, a tapestry woven from pain into hope, Havenridge's heart holding them tight. Afternoon brought Holt's story, shared in quiet moments by the kennel, Ember curled between them, Lila listening, Nora nearby. "She was my shadow," Holt said, voice rough. "In war, saved me more times than I can count. Ambush took her, chaos, theft, I failed her." His eyes glistened, but Ember nudged him, her golden brown eyes forgiving, her trust a balm. Lila touched his arm, soft. "She's here now." And Holt nodded, his pain easing, a soldier finding home. Nora watched, her throat tight. Ember's past was pain, but her present was love, a bridge they'd all cross together. Lila's visits were a rhythm, reading, playing, her harness a promise of freedom. Ember followed her, tail high, her barks bright, and Holt joined, his hands steady, teaching Ember old commands. Sit, stay. Her response instant, a soldier's heart waking. Nora shared their progress with the shelter, volunteers cheering. "She's a star!" The rescue called, voice warm. "She's yours, Havenridge," granting Ember a home here, no deadline, only love. Nora's tears fell, relief flooding her. Ember was safe, her spark a fire that lit their path. Evening brought a plan. Lila, a physical therapist, saw Holt's limp, his war wounds, and offered help. "Therapy," she said. "For you, for Ember." Holt hesitated, pride warring with need, but Ember's nudge, Lila's smile, won. "All right," he said, voice soft, and Nora felt it. A family forming, Ember their heart, Lila their light, Holt their strength. The shelter bustled, adoptions, laughter, but Ember's kennel was peace, Lila reading, Holt humming, Ember playing, her golden brown eyes warm, her trust a river flowing free. Nora drove to Millwood at dusk, tying Holt's loose ends. His friend, grateful, shared more. Ember was his lifeline. Losing her broke him, but you've given him back. Nora's heart soared, Havenridge's meadows glowing as she returned, her mind on their future. Lila stayed late, her music playing, and Ember curled between her and Holt. Her rope toy chewed, her joy a flame that lit the night. Nora sat nearby, her poetry book open, reading as they rested, her voice a lullaby. Ember's tail thumped, her love a fire that warmed them all, Holt's hand on her fur, Lila's smile a mirror of Nora's joy. The shelter quieted, Havenridge's stars bright, Ember's breath soft, her golden brown eyes closed, dreaming of hands, of voices, of a captain and a woman who'd called her home. Lila left, her car's engine a whisper, her silhouette a vow. Holt lingered, his truck parked close, his heart tethered to Ember, to Lila, to Nora's faith. Nora locked the shelter, her soul full. Ember's past was healed, her future bright, their bond a light no darkness could dim. In her kennel, Ember slept, her blanket warm, her golden brown eyes dreaming, her spark a fire that danced with love. Nora whispered, "You're home, girl," and felt the truth. Ember had woven them together, a family born from pain, now soaring toward a dawn where trust would make them whole. Havenridge, their forever sky. The Havenridge dawn bloomed with a radiant calm, sunlight cascading over Willowmere Lane, bathing the Havenridge Animal Haven in a glow that whispered of new beginnings. The shelter's kennels thrummed with life, eager barks, soft purrs, a chorus of dreams unfolding. But at its heart was Ember, the German shepherd who'd risen from fear's shadow, her black and tan coat gleaming, her golden brown eyes alight with joy, a fire fueled by Lila Grayson's love, Elias Holt's return, and Nora Vale's unwavering faith. Nora moved through her morning, her auburn hair catching the light, her amber eyes warm with pride, her heart tethered to Ember, whose trust had woven a family from broken threads. Ember's kennel was a haven. Lila's blanket warm, a rope toy frayed with play, a harness now worn with pride, signs of a soul reborn. She danced at the bars, her tail a joyous whip at Lila's voice, her ears perked for Holt's low chuckle, her scars mere whispers of a past overcome. Nora knelt, checking her strength, vibrant, whole, and smiled, tears brimming. "You're our star, girl," she murmured, her fingers brushing Ember's fur, her soul soaring at the dog's triumph, the deadline gone, replaced by a future bright with love. Havenridge their home. Havenridge woke with its tender hum, bakers kneading dough, children racing. But the shelter was Nora's universe, each animal a light in her heart. She soothed a nervous pup, her hands steady, her mind on Ember's journey. Holt's reunion, Lila's bridge, a bond that mended them all. Holt's friend had called, voice warm. Elias is healing thanks to her. Nora's pulse quickened. Ember, Holt's lifeline, had sparked life in him, as Lila had in her, their love a tapestry woven through pain into hope, Havenridge's heart holding them tight. Lila arrived early, her spring moss eyes glowing, her folding chair now joined by a leash, a promise of walks under open skies. "Morning, Ember," she said, her voice a melody, settling by the kennel with her book, tales of home, their pages soft with love. Nora watched, her heart full, as Ember bounded, her bark bright, pressing against the bars, her nose nudging Lila's hand, a whine of joy filling the air. "My sweet girl," Lila laughed, clipping on the harness, and Ember pranced, her tail high, ready for her first steps outside. trust a river flowing deep. The shelter hushed, volunteers gathering, their whispers awed. She's free. Lila led Ember to the yard, Holt joining, his weathered face soft, his limp easing as he walked beside them. Ember leapt, her golden brown eyes warm, chasing a ball Lila tossed. Holt's low commands, sit, come, met with eager bounds, a soldier's heart alive again. Nora lingered, her tears silent as Ember ran, her coat catching the sun, a dance of joy that lit the meadow. Lila knelt, her laughter bright, and Holt smiled, his hand on Ember's fur. You're back, girl. Their bond a flame that warmed them all. Mid-morning brought community. Neighbours arriving, drawn by Ember's story, their arms full of toys, treats, blankets. She's Havenridge's star, said Clara, a baker with silver curls, hugging Nora, her eyes on Ember, who greeted her with a wag. Lila shared their journey, voice soft, Holt listening, his gratitude quiet but deep. You've given her a home, he said, meeting Lila's eyes, and she nodded, tears falling. We've got each other. Nora's heart swelled. Ember's spark had lit the town, their love a beacon, a family forged in trust. Afternoon unfolded with purpose. Lila's therapy plan for Holt, his war wounds easing under her care, Ember joining, her presence a balm. Walk with her, Lila said, guiding Holt, and Ember stayed close, her tail thumping, her golden brown eyes warm, as if she knew his pain, her trust healing them both. Nora watched, her throat tight as Holt stood taller, his strength returning, Lila's smile a mirror of Ember's joy. You're a team, Nora said, and Holt nodded, voice rough. Always were. Nora's mission was their future. She met with the shelter board, voice firm, proposing Ember stay, a mascot, a light for others. She's ours, she said, showing photos. Ember running, Holt smiling, Lila's love shining. They agreed, funds pledged, Havenridge's heart wide, volunteers cheering. She's home! Nora's tears fell, relief flooding her. Ember's place was sure, her spark a fire that lit their path. Lila and Holt her anchors, the town her sky. Evening brought warmth, Lila reading, Holt humming, Ember curled between them, her rope toy chewed, her harness worn with pride. The shelter buzzed, adoptions, laughter, but Ember's yard was peace, neighbours visiting, kids petting her, their giggles a song. Clara brought pie, her smile bright, for our heroes, and Ember licked her hand, her trust a river flowing free. Lila shared plans, a therapy program, Ember at its heart, helping others heal, Holt nodding, his purpose waking. I'm in. Night fell, Havenridge's meadows cloaked in stars, the shelter quiet save for Ember's soft breaths. Lila lingered, her music playing, and Ember ran in the yard, Holt tossing the ball, her golden brown eyes warm, her joy a flame that lit the night. Nora sat nearby, her poetry book open, reading as they played, her voice a lullaby. Ember's tail thumped, her love a fire that warmed them all, Holt's hand on her fur, Lila's smile a mirror of Nora's joy. Lila left late, her car's engine soft, her silhouette a vow. Holt stayed, his truck close, his heart tethered to Ember, to Lila, to Nora's faith. Nora locked the shelter, her soul full. Ember's past was healed, her future bright, their bond a light no darkness could dim. In her kennel, Ember slept, her blanket warm, her golden brown eyes closed, dreaming of hands, of voices, of a captain and a woman who'd called her home, a dawn where trust would make her soar. The Havenridge dawn shimmered with a golden embrace, sunlight spilling over Willowmere Lane, painting the Havenridge Animal Haven in hues of hope and promise. The shelter's kennels sang with life, joyful barks, gentle purrs, a chorus of dreams taking wing. But at its heart was Ember, the German shepherd who'd risen from fear's shadow to shine like a star, her black and tan coat glossy, her golden brown eyes radiant with love, a fire fueled by Lila Grayson's tenderness, Elias Holt's devotion, and Nora Vale's boundless faith. Nora moved through her morning, her auburn hair glowing, her amber eyes warm with gratitude, her heart tethered to Ember. whose journey had woven a family from scattered threads. Ember's kennel was a sanctuary no more. She roamed the shelter's yard now, her harness a badge of freedom, Lila's blanket a bed for naps, a rope toy her prize from playful tugs. She bounded at Lila's voice, her tail a whip of joy, her ears perked for Holt's low hum, her scars mere echoes of a past left behind. Nora knelt, checking her strength, vibrant, whole, and laughed, tears brimming. "You're our miracle, girl," she murmured, her fingers brushing Ember's fur, her soul soaring at the dog's triumph. Havenridge, their home, its heart wide enough to hold their light. Havenridge woke with its gentle hum, farmers hauling baskets, children giggling. But the shelter was Nora's universe, each animal a spark in her soul. She soothed a shy kitten, her hands steady, her mind on Ember's transformation, Holt's healing, Lila's bridge, a bond that lit their path. The town had rallied. Neighbors brought treats, kids drew Ember's face. Clara's bakery sold Ember Paws cookies, funds for the shelter for her future. Nora's contact called, voice warm. Holt's found purpose, thanks to her. Nora's pulse quickened. Ember, their star, had mended a soldier, a woman, a town, her love a flame that burned eternal. Lila arrived mid-morning, her spring moss eyes glowing, her leash in hand, a soft collar for Ember embroidered with a star. "Morning, sweet girl," she said, her voice a melody, leading Ember to the yard, her book left behind. Play was their story now. Nora watched, her heart full, as Ember sprinted, her bark bright, chasing a ball Lila tossed, her golden brown eyes warm with joy. Holt joined, his weathered face alight, his limp fading, his voice low. "Go, girl," as Ember leapt, her tail a blur, a dance of trust that hushed the shelter's hum. Volunteers gathered, their cheers soft. "She's a queen." Lila knelt, clipping the collar on, and Ember pranced, her star glinting, her nose nudging Lila's hand, a whine of love filling the air. Holt tossed the ball, his laughter rare but true, and Ember bounded, her strength a song, Lila's smile a mirror of Nora's joy. "She's ours," Lila said, tears falling, and Holt nodded, his hand on Ember's fur. "Always will be." Nora's heart swelled. Ember's spark had lit their lives, their bond a tapestry woven from pain into forever. Havenridge their sky. Midday brought community. Clara with pies, kids with drawings, neighbors pledging support for Ember's therapy dream. "She'll help others," said Tom, a farmer, petting Ember, who licked his hand, her trust a river flowing free. Lila shared their plan. A canine therapy program, Ember at its heart, Holt nodding, his strength returning. For soldiers, for anyone broken. Nora listened, her throat tight, as Havenridge vowed funds, space, love, a clinic by the meadow, Ember's star to guide it. "You've changed us," Clara said, hugging Lila, and Holt's eyes glistened, gratitude deep. "She changed me." Afternoon unfolded with purpose. Lila's therapy for Holt, his war wounds easing, Ember joining, her presence a balm. "Run with her," Lila said, guiding them, and Ember stayed close, her tail thumping, her golden brown eyes warm, as if she knew his pain, her trust healing them both. Nora watched, tears silent, as Holt walked straighter, his hand on Ember's collar, Lila's laughter bright, a family born from trust. "You're her anchor," Nora said, and Lila smiled, voice soft. "We're hers." Nora's mission was their future. She met with the town council, voice clear, proposing Ember as Havenridge's light, a therapy star for all. "She's our heart," she said, showing videos, Ember running, Holt smiling, Lila's love shining. They agreed, funds pledged, a meadow leased, volunteers cheering. "She's home." Nora's tears fell, relief flooding her. Ember's place was eternal, her spark a fire that lit their dreams, Lila and Holt her guardians, the town her wings. Evening brought warmth. Lila tossing the ball, Holt humming, Ember leaping, her star collar glinting, her joy a flame that lit the yard. The shelter buzzed, adoptions, laughter, but Ember's meadow was peace, kids petting her, their giggles a song. Clara brought cookies, her smile bright, For our star, and Ember nuzzled her, her trust a river flowing deep. Lila shared plans, a therapy launch, Ember helping souls like Holt, her eyes warm, she's our guide. Holt nodded, his purpose clear. I'm ready. Night fell, Haven Ridge's meadows cloaked in stars, the shelter quiet save for Ember's soft breaths. Lila lingered, her music playing, and Ember curled between her and Holt, her rope toy chewed, her harness worn with pride. Nora sat nearby, her poetry book open, reading as they rested, her voice a lullaby. Ember's tail thumped, her love a fire that warmed them all, Holt's hand on her fur, Lila's smile, a mirror of Nora's joy. Lila left late, her car's engine soft, her silhouette a vow. Holt stayed, his truck close, his heart tethered to Ember, to Lila, to Nora's faith. Nora locked the shelter, her soul full. Ember's past was healed, her future a beacon, their bond a light no darkness could dim. In the yard, Ember slept, her blanket warm, her golden brown eyes closed, dreaming of hands, of voices, of a captain and a woman who'd called her home, a dawn where trust would make her soar. The Haven Ridge dusk glowed with a radiant promise. The meadows along Willowmere Lane bathed in twilight's embrace, their golden grasses swaying under a sky bursting with stars. The Haven Ridge Animal Haven stood proud, its kennels quiet, but the meadow beyond pulsed with life, a festival of lights, music, and laughter where neighbors gathered to celebrate a miracle named Ember. The German Shepherd, once a trembling shadow, bounded through the crowd, her black and tan coat gleaming, her golden brown eyes alight with joy, her star-embroidered collar a beacon of love, forged by Lila Grayson, Elias Holt, and Nora Vale. Nora stood at the meadow's edge, her auburn hair catching the lantern glow, her amber eyes warm with pride, her heart tethered to Ember, whose journey had lit their world. Ember was no longer bound by fear, her harness a symbol of freedom, her rope toy a trophy of play, her tail a whip of delight as she greeted Haven Ridge's heart. She danced for Lila's voice, nuzzled Holt's hand, her scars mere whispers of a past redeemed, her strength a testament to trust. Nora knelt laughing as Ember licked her face, tears brimming. You're our forever, girl, she murmured, her fingers brushing Ember's fur, her soul soaring at the dog's triumph. Haven Ridge, their home. Its love a sky wide enough to hold their dreams. The festival hummed, lanterns bobbing, fiddles weaving, children chasing Ember with giggles, her barks bright bells. Clara, silver curls dancing, handed out Ember Paws cookies, her smile wide, for our star. Neighbors shared pies, drew Ember's face, pledged funds for her therapy program, a clinic rising by the meadow, her light to guide it. Lila stood with Holt, their hands close, Ember between them, her golden brown eyes warm, a family born from pain, now whole. Nora watched, her throat tight. This was their dawn, Ember's spark a fire that lit their hearts, Haven Ridge their wings. Lila's spring moss eyes glowed as she spoke, voice clear. Ember showed us healing. She shared their journey, Ember's fear, Holt's return, Haven Ridge's love. Her therapy plan now real, a haven for soldiers, for souls like Ember, broken but brave. Holt nodded, his weathered face soft, his limp gone, his voice steady. She saved me again. Ember barked, her tail a blur, and the crowd cheered, their love a tide lifting them all. Nora's tears fell, joy flooding her. Ember's past was healed, her future a beacon, their bond eternal. The shelter had changed, adoption soared, volunteers sang, Ember its mascot, her story a light for others. Nora shared with Clara, voice trembling. She's our heart. Clara hugged her, eyes twinkling. Always will be. Kids ran, lanterns rising, their glow a mirror of Ember's spark, Holt tossing her ball, Lila laughing, Ember leaping, her joy a song that wove the night. Tom the farmer pledged land for her clinic, and Haven Ridge roared, their heart wide, Ember's star their guide. Evening deepened, the meadow a sea of light, Ember running, her star collar glinting, Lila and Holt beside her, their hands brushing, a love budding soft, unspoken. Nora joined, her poetry book tucked away, her voice now stories, Ember's rescue, Lila's bridge, Holt's return, Haven Ridge's embrace. The crowd listened, tears falling, kids petting Ember, her licks a gift, her golden brown eyes warm as if she knew her tale had changed them all. "She's our miracle," a child said, and Nora nodded, her heart full, "Our forever." Lila led Ember to a lantern painted with her face, a star, a dog, a family, its wick catching flame, Holt's hand steady beside hers. "For hope," Lila said, and they released it. Ember barking, her tail high, the lantern soaring, joining hundreds, a sky of dreams that lit the meadow, the hills, their souls. Nora's tears streamed, her laughter bright, Haven Ridge's song rising, fiddles, voices, love weaving tight. Ember leapt, her joy a fire, Lila's smile a mirror of Holt's, their bond a light no darkness could dim. Night fell, the festival alive, pies shared, dances spun, Ember chasing kids, her barks a melody. Clara brought Nora pie, her voice soft. "You gave them this." Nora shook her head, eyes on Ember. She did. Holt knelt, Ember's head in his lap, his voice low. "Thank you," to Lila, to Nora, to Haven Ridge, his pain healed, his purpose clear. Lila touched his shoulder, her eyes warm. "We're home," and Ember whined, her trust a river flowing free, their family whole. The meadow quieted, lanterns fading, stars burning bright, a sky holding their story. Nora led Ember back, Lila and Holt beside her, the shelter glowing, its kennels dreaming. They sat in the yard, Ember curled between them, her rope toy chewed, her golden brown eyes soft, her love a flame that warmed the night. Nora spoke, voice a lullaby. "You've changed us, girl." And Ember's tail thumped, her trust a song. Lila's hand on Holt's, their future dawning. Lila's clinic rose weeks later, Ember its heart, helping soldiers, souls, her barks a guide, Holt strong, Lila radiant, their love blooming, a quiet vow. Nora watched, her shelter thriving, Ember's face on signs, her story sung, fear to trust, pain to light, Haven Ridge's star. Kids visited, their drawings taped, Clara's cookies sold, funds flowing, Ember running, her golden brown eyes warm, her joy eternal. Months passed, Ember grew, her coat glossy, her strength sure, her star collar worn with pride. Lila and Holt built a home, Ember their bridge, Nora their friend, Haven Ridge their sky. The festival returned, lanterns for Ember, her barks bright, her love a fire that lit their hearts. Nora stood, her poetry book open, reading to kids, Ember listening, her golden brown eyes dreaming, her spark a star that guided them all. In the quiet, Nora wrote their tale. Ember's fear, Lila's light, Holt's return, Haven Ridge's heart, her words a lantern rising forever. Ember slept, her blanket warm, her golden brown eyes closed, dreaming of hands, of voices, of a captain and a woman who'd called her home, a dawn where trust made her soar, her star eternal, Haven Ridge's light.